Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. Polish Health Minister Adam Niedzielski has announced the introduction of a national quarantine which will come into force on the 28th of December and last until the 17th of January next year. There will be more restrictions, including what amounts to a curfew between 7 p.m. on New Year's Eve and 6 a.m. on New Year's Day.
The Polish Ministry of Health has reported a significant increase in the number of new COVID-19 infections in the country. According to the latest data, there are nearly 12,000 new coronavirus infections in the country. 431 more people have died. The highest number of new infections, that is 1,555, was reported in the Greater Poland region and the smallest, 230, in the Podlaskie region.
Od 28 grudnia.
The national quarantine will enter into force on December 28th and will last until January 17th. Apart from the current restrictions, which are still in force, hotels will be closed, even for business-related matters. The ski runs will be closed as well until January 17th. Another important restriction, which is to protect us from the third wave of the epidemic, are shopping malls, which will have to be closed, except for grocery and drugstores. New Year's Eve is getting closer. On this day, we will introduce a travel ban from 9 p.m. on December 31st to 6 a.m. January 1st. What is more, every person coming to Poland will have to go into a 10-day quarantine.
Do 17 stycznia.
According to the media, French President Emmanuel Macron has tested positive for the coronavirus. Macron will go on a 7-day quarantine. The Prime Minister of France, Jean Castex, and the President of the European Council, Charles Michel, the Prime Ministers of Portugal, Antonio Costa, and Spain, Pedro Sanchez, will have to go on quarantine as well, as they all have had contact with the COVID-19 infected French President. The European Union has announced that the mass-scale vaccination program in its member countries will begin on December 27th. The German Health Minister has announced that in his country, the first patients will receive the coronavirus vaccine on December 21st. Due to the high number of new infections, a national quarantine was introduced in Germany on Wednesday.
Not just at home but also abroad, the Polish National Foundation actively helps those in need. The greatest support recently has been given to medical facilities treating those with the COVID-19 disease.
The money also went to special help homes, clinics for seniors, hospices and payments directly to veterans. The Polish National Foundation was engaged in helping Poles living in the eastern borderlands as well. Along with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, it organized transports with the most needed products to Georgia, Belarus, Lithuania and Ukraine. The Polish National Foundation has been functioning for the past 4 years and was founded by 17 state-owned companies. In the first year of its activity, the founders allocated 100 million zloty for its purposes.
Now we remember the tragic events of Black Thursday 50 years ago. On the 17th of December 1970, the authorities of the then People's Republic of Poland mercilessly suppressed the workers' protests in Gdansk, Gdynia, Szczecin and Elbląg. Units from the militia and the army launched an attack on defenceless protesters. The immediate cause of the social unrest was the announcement of an increase in the price of basic foodstuffs.
This morning, on the 50th anniversary of Black Thursday, President Andrzej Duda laid a wreath and lit a candle in front of the plaque commemorating these events. On this bridge by the Gdynia shipyard railway station, tanks were waiting for them, and armed people, soldiers, militia, unexpectedly opened fire on them. This is one of the most symbolic and tragic events of the entire period of communist rule in Poland after 1945. December 17, 1970 was one of the bloodiest days of the uprising on the coast. The workers' strikes began on December 14th after the rise in prices of basic foodstuffs by several dozen %. On the night of December 15th to 16th, members of the Gdynia Strike Committee were arrested. During the night, these people were brutally beaten and taken to the prison in Wejherowo, and actually the strike lost its leaders. From the morning of December 16th, the special services announced that the situation in Gdynia was getting worse, that people were revolting and, above all, demanding the release of those who had been arrested. On Wednesday evening, December 16th, the then Deputy Prime Minister Stanisław Kociński Kościołek called for an end to the strike and a return to work. On Thursday, December 17th, working at the Gdynia shipyard, as in the Paris Commune, were on the way to work. Those events are clearly remembered by Jerzy Miotka, who was working at the shipyard at the time. "We would start in the morning, as always, 5:30, 6 a.m. Everything took place at the traffic junction. The streets were blocked by cordons of the army and police. At 6:05 a.m. there was a warning shot from a tank, and they used automatic weapons and firearms. That was the greatest disgrace and crime." The man known by the name of Janek Wiśniewski, actually Zbyszek Godlewski, was 18 years old at the time of his death. He became a symbol of the victims of the bloody massacre on the coast. Following his death, protesters marched carrying his corpse on a door through the streets of Gdynia. On that day alone, which came to be remembered as the Black Thursday, 18 people died and more than 100 were wounded by bullets.
Catholics around the world join in prayers as Pope Francis celebrates his 84th birthday. He has served at the head of the Roman Catholic Church since the abdication of Pope Benedict XVI in 2013.
Vatican spokesman Matteo Bruni said that the Pope will spend his birthday as he usually does, praying with the other inhabitants of St. Martha's house. The Argentinian cleric was born on December 17, 1936 in Buenos Aires. He is the first Latin American Pope ever and the first non-European since Pope Gregory III in 731. He was chosen as Man of the Year by the Time magazine 7 years ago.
That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.